Do you want to intro again for the recording? Angela did
We're
a really
good.
nice recording or intro right before
We're
we hit
good.
record. Okay. Okay, lovely. Well, hello everybody. I'm Sarah Histand and I use she, they pronouns. I'm here in Anchorage, Alaska, on Denina land where it's currently snowing, but we are here to talk about summer, which will arrive at some point soon, hopefully. Maybe it's already there where you are. I know not everywhere is as delayed as Alaska is this time of year. Yeah, I'm a personal trainer as well as a mental health therapist, and I also like to spend a lot of time outside. So my body of work is centered around the confluence of those three different areas. And today we're here to play around with one of the Summer Strong workouts that is designed to help us build strength for our muscles and also awareness of our mind and our nervous system as we go through stress cycles and help us get ready for summer. So that's what we're here to do. I've got like maybe a 40-minute workout or so planned for us. It's pretty low equipment. If you do the full Summer Strong program, I'll show you the little pieces of equipment I'll have you purchase. But for today, the only thing you might want, if you want some extra support, I have a tall backed chair to hold on to, or you could like hold onto the wall too for extra balance. And then I use a couple like markers on the ground, which I have two yoga blocks that I use, or you could use like two shoes or cans of beans or something like that. So like two things, which is all optional. So pretty low equipment needs. And my style of training is really it's nervous system and mental health centered. So really want you to feel encouraged and celebrated to make choices that align with the where your body is at on today and what your goals are at, and just know that it's like one workout of many in a training regimen. So we can take things as easy or as hard today depending on how you're feeling, and you will get the recording so you can always revisit this and do it at a different time at a different energy level. I personally, you might hear this, I'm a little stuffy, so I'm recovering from a bit of a cold right now. So I will be modeling what I teach, which is not always going as hard as you can on all the things, and knowing that like what you show up with on an individual day is the right amount. You don't have to always have 100% A plus workout to progress and to grow your strength. And sometimes showing up and having like a meh kind of workout is a great way to move some of the energy in your body too. So I'll be coaching you through some up level options and also what we call mobility track, which is focusing on mobility and alignment and less intensity, and a really nice way to take care of your body when you're having a less intense kind of day. What else? Oh, I have a playlist. If you want to put music on, I made a playlist for you. It's on Spotify and I just dropped it in the chat. So you can use that. I'll tell you when to start it, or you can start at any time, really. And I see so far most people have cameras off. It's really up to you if you want to have your camera on or off as we get started. And just to give a little bit more background to this type of training. So um, I wanted to give you some sample exercises that are inside of the Summer Strong program. And what we try to do with Summer Strong is strengthen the muscles that we use when we're doing outdoor rec movement patterns, as well as their counter muscles. So it's like if when we're going outside, we're doing a lot of forward movement. But then when something gets weird, like we slip or we get into a weird terrain, we need to be able to move laterally or twist in a strong way so that we can recover from those weird movement patterns without getting injured. So we'll be doing some muscle memory work and also some of that stabilization work, and all of that with outdoor rec summer adventures in mind, and then also with training with your nervous system in mind. And just to give a quick overview of what I mean by that, our nervous system is like the switchboard underneath our whole body. And ideally, it's able to move into a stressor and produce activation to get us to successfully have the mobilization to do the thing. And then after the stressor is done, ideally it's able to settle back down. And depending on what sort of nervous system defaults you have, you might, some of us have nervous systems that get kind of stuck on. So when we're in a stressful moment, it's able to be there, but it sort of stays there afterward too and has trouble settling. So you might recognize that. Other people have nervous systems that are stuck on off and have more trouble moving up into activation and are more shut down. So we can play with, I think training like this, interval training and workouts in general are a really excellent place to play with nervous system patterns. And if you're a stuck on off person, play with what it's like to move into just the right amount of activation. We don't have to move into too much. We can titrate our movement and find the right level of intensity, which might be mobility track for you. And then play with what it's like to move into intensity. And then if you're a stuck on person, we'll be playing with what it takes to come down the backside of your nervous system wave and settle and recover as much as possible in between intervals and also at the end of the workout. So we get to play with all of that. I think that's a pretty good spiel. Anybody have any questions or anything you want me to talk about before we get started? Can put them in the chat though. I'm about to step away, so I'm going to move back away from the camera and start teaching. You should still be able to hear me through my headphones. Let me just make sure that's, yeah, that looks good.
I can also
Okay,
monitor the chat when you're stepped away from your computer.
that's great. Thanks, Angela. Okay, good. So then tech-wise, you might want to make me as big as possible. So you could want to do that. You could pin me on your screen to get the visual. This would be a good time to start the playlist if you're doing that. And then let's do a little warm-up. Okay, so here, let me change this a little bit. Okay, so let's take a couple big breaths. Just reaching through the fingertips. We'll just use these first couple moments to bring your attention into the moment, into your body. Yeah, one more big breath, reaching through the fingertips. And then we'll move into side steps. So this is just slow and steady to begin, tapping the toe behind, crossing the arms in front, and pulling the backs of the hands back to the wall behind you. And that pulling the backs of the hands back is a nice way to start opening up the chest, which might be useful if you had some computer time today or some driving or holding babies, any of those things that you end up hunching forward with. And then as you're ready, we can add a little bit of a squat into the center. So this is a little knee bend, starting small. And then as you get more comfortable with this move, you might want to drop a little lower into the squat. So now, starting to warm up the joints in the knees and the ankles and the hips. Little by little with that. And keeping the squat, let's rotate the arms. So keep the squat rotate around. I should say you can go at whatever pace you want with this warm up. Find your rhythm with it. And have patience with yourself with the moves too. We're really just looking to warm up all of the muscles and the joints and connective tissue in the body. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, switch this up again. Reach up and over. This one's for side ribs, obliques, and stretching the shoulders a little bit differently. Great, feel the stretch to the shoulders, feel the legs warming up, mine certainly are. Let's go one more to each side. And then we'll pause, shake it out and take a breath. How about high knee march next? This is just a Nice big powerful march. Like you're lifting each knee and then over exaggerate the upper body, like swing it a bit so we get a little bit of a twist in the upper back. Let's do some punches to the front. Warm up the shoulders a little bit more. And up high. Yeah, a couple to the front and then let's twist. So this is a punch over the lifted knee. Yeah. It's kind of a tricky one sometimes. So if you get confused, it's over the lifted knee. And we want to twist through the torso. Maybe pull back with the opposite elbow. Do a little more of a twist. Okay. Yeah, let that go, shake it off. Butt kicks is next. Slow and steady to begin. This one's a quad stretch and a warm up for the hamstrings. And you might stay nice and steady here. Or if today's one of the days where you'd like to play with some speed and agility, this is a place to start into some of that. So you might try some little hops or even a little butt kick sprint with some speed. And if you touched into speed, let's dial it down, slow it down, and place both feet on the ground for a moment. Take a breath. Do a little hamstring stretch right here with arms wide. Take right hand down toward the left foot, and then up, and then the other side, and up. These are all dynamic stretches, which means we're warming up muscles while we stretch them. You might also feel your heart rate coming up. We'll do some static stretches where you hold the stretch at the end. You like dynamic stretches at the beginning of work or the beginning of an outdoor rec time because you get to warm the muscles up, get some extra blood flow going, also lengthen the muscles out. Okay, good. Squeeze the hips forward up at the top. We're really activating that posterior chain. We'll be doing a little bit more work on that throughout class. Let's go one more. And then come on up. Okay, take a breath. Maybe grab some water. That's the warm up, but we're doing official warm up. I'm gonna grab water. If you need a little more warm up time, sometimes we do. You can just kind of approach these first few intervals that we'll do next with a warm up flare. Just means you don't have to go super hard right away and trust that your body might need some more time. Okay, so let's get started with some intervals. This first round we call foundation moves. We're gonna do a set of lunges. You can hold onto the chair if you'd like some extra stability. We'll be going back and tap forward. So that's the starting point. I've got this timer going. You might be able to visually see it. Hopefully you can also hear it. And I'll talk you through. Yeah, there you go. So I'm not sure what happened. Wow. Okay, we're having a tech glitch. Let's try this again. Okay, we're gonna try this one more time. Man, we've had some tech glitches this week. We'll see. Here's our first round of lunges though. It looks like it's working now. So we're lunging back and tapping into center. You can hold on to a chair if you'd like the extra stability or let the chair go and work balance here. It'll be a little bit more stable if you think about being on railroad tracks with your lunges, even as you lunge back. And then let's all think about driving through the heel of the front foot. So you lunge, and then as you come up, a lot of the up comes from the effort of pushing down through the front foot. Take a little break, shake it out, take a breath. So if you work that motion of driving down through the heel of the front foot, that will activate the muscles in the posterior chain, your glutes and your hamstrings. Same side, same move. Ooh. And if you'd like to up level it, you can add a knee drive on. So this is the second round of this back lunge on the same side. We'll do 3 rounds with this move, and then we'll switch to the next one. Okay, good. Take a little break, shake it out, give that leg a tiny bit of a break. Here's the third round with this move. So these are getting shorter, the intervals are getting shorter, and they're potentially getting harder. So for this final round, if you'd like to, you can stay with those earlier options, or you can speed this up, maybe jump. Yeah, still keeping that drive through the front heel, but maybe now also adding on the challenge of a jump. Okay, whew, there you go, take a break. Nice work. Shake it out. Both feet on the ground for a moment. Take some breaths. Check how your body's doing with some of that intensity. Oh, yeah, as the breath and the heart rate maybe starts to settle, we can notice our breathing. Oh, maybe breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth to slow it down. Okay, here we go on the second side. So we're starting at the beginning, slow and steady, just switching out the sides. Think about a railroad track width between the two sides and driving down. So you're down and you push into the floor through the heel of the front foot. This is one for anyone who hikes uphill in the summer. Anytime we're hiking uphill, we're doing a version of a lunge. And anytime we can think about driving through the heel of our front foot, we'll take some of the work out of the quads, support it with the strength of some really strong muscles back here, and that'll really help both our longevity and endurance outside, and it'll help our joint happiness. So we like that. Okay, second round with this same side. If you're up leveling, you can knee drive. You sure don't have to though. Sometimes if you're working the up levels, maybe you keep stability, or you just notice that as we add some of the balance to this movement, especially when we keep it slow, then we're having some wobbles. Yeah, take a little break, shake it out. Those wobbles are the stabilizer muscles, the little muscles and the connective tissue that stabilize our joints. Let's go one more time with this reverse lunge. This time maybe jumping or speeding up the movement pattern. Oh yeah, so now that if you're moving a little faster, you might actually be less wobbly. Good, take a break, shake it out. And so that's some of why it's actually advantageous to sometimes go slow. There's a challenge for the joints and the stability in the joints. When we back it off, slow it down. Okay, next move, if you have a block, this would be a time to bring it around. This is a stagger squat. So you're either going one foot on a block like this, or you're going one heel up in the air and one foot flat. And if you have one foot, this version, take your toe and line it up with the front heel. So they're staggered front to back as well. And then we're doing some squats. So you've got this version, or the block version if you're on a block. We have both feet are actually lined up parallel. And then you could support yourself a little more even by holding onto a chair. Okay, feel a couple more here. These stagger squats, I really like them and I put them in for this workout because of all the hikers I know out there. And I imagine many of you who are with us today are planning to do some hiking this summer. Same side, same orientation. Let's do some squats where just track what happens with your weight balance when you're just doing what you do here. And then what happens if you load up the foot that's on the ground that's flat? What happens if you load up the foot that's elevated or that has the heel lifted? And then what's it like to 50-50 balance? Look for even weight between the two sides, even though they're doing different things. Okay, cool. Take a little break. Relax and shake that off. There is no perfect way to do stagger squats, just like there is no just perfect way to go hiking. Let's do one more round. You could take this move, speed it up, maybe jump it, and then shift your weight around. So try loading up the foot that's elevated, load up the lower foot, even out your weight balance. Try to split it 50-50, move that weight around, and take a break, shake it out. Okay, great job. Breathe and relax. Release any tension that might have built up there. We're gonna do that same thing on side two, so you can just scoot your block over or set yourself up for the other side. I really like this one, like I said, for hiking because a lot of our trails have some side slope to them. So starting at the beginning here on side two, and just notice what it's like to be doing some squats in this uneven position, much like hiking on an uneven trail. And our body might just have a default when we're on an uneven surface that it like takes up all the work on one side, which might work for a time, but we might be underutilizing a different part of the body. Or we might actually find that it's more stable to balance the weight in a slightly different way than the body's default. Take a break, shake it out and breathe. Okay, let's go with the next round where we'll intentionally move some weight balance. Okay, so starting here, where do you go? What happens in your body when it just does its thing? And then what happens when you load up the foot that's low? And then load up the foot that's high? And look for what a 50-50 balance would be between the two sides. And then what's the most stable position you can find? What's the most stable weight balance? What does that feel like? Just an inquiry, kind of curious. It might change from day to day. Might change depending on the incline of the slope or the steepness of the side slope. One more round here. Let's take this move, play with it. You might speed it up or jump. If you're jumping, let's make the emphasis on the landing nice and light if you can, and look for stability. So what's that even weight balance or that nice stable balance that you can find at the end? Okay, good work. Move that to the side. The next move I've got for you is a V-sit. So if you are modifying, I'd have you come to the edge of a chair, do a V-sit up here. Otherwise, let's come down to the ground and we'll set up the beginning of our V-sit, which is hips tipped forward, so you're up on your sits bones. We're gonna lower the torso back, maybe support it with the hands, or maybe float the hands. Breathe here for a second. I'm still recovering my heart rate a little bit from that last round. Yeah, breathe here, stabilize. See if it's possible to imagine squeezing your inner thighs together, even though they don't get any closer. Like as if you were squeezing maybe a block between your thighs. If you want this to be harder, you can lower your torso. If you'd like it to be easier, you can lift it or set the hands down. Okay, great. So a couple little funky V-sit options. We're gonna do 2 more rounds. If you are a boater, like I'm a pack rafter, but if you're a kayaker or pack rafter or somebody who spends time in boats or bikes, like a mountain bike, let's play with what it's like to move your hips, move up onto one hip and squeeze this hip and this rib in close together. So you're kind of tucking. And then try the other side, switch your hip, tuck over. So you're lifting this one off the ground, trying to connect this hip and this armpit, and then go to the other side, switch. And the other. Okay, nice little break. Shake it out, roll it out. These are oblique exercises that when you're boating, that's often how we maintain balance. Same with bikes. So for the final round here, if you'd like, you might lift one leg and try to get that tilt going, or you could lift both of them. Try to tip from one side to the other. Yep. And then imagine, we're often trying to get your head the opposite direction in order to not tip. So that's something, if you're ever playing with stabilization for whitewater, you might end up high side over here and need to get your head down here and your paddle down, boom, in order to get yourself up here. So things you could play with inside to start building muscle memory for some of those tricky moments outside. Okay, lovely. So that's foundation moves. Looks good, y'all. No chats. So let's do our next, we're gonna switch interval timing now. We've got a set that is called a mixed interval, where we just do some upper body and core moves. Grab a little water. It's a good time to take a transition water break. When we do, today what I've got for you for upper body, we're gonna do some push-ups and then we'll do some plank moves. So in the full like summer strong stuff, you'll have some equipment like a ball, some gliding discs, which help because they make the floor slippery. So they help us be able to replicate slippery or unstable surfaces. And then bands for some more upper body. But what we'll do today is push-ups. So if you have a chair for elevated push-ups, amazing, or I'll show you a bunch of options for modifying or doing regular push-ups from the floor. I saw a chat. Oh, it's gone. Okay, great. So let's move into some upper body and core work. This is a little bit shorter, so these are 20-second intervals with 10-second breaks. If you would like to come onto the floor for push-ups, we can start with your either toes or knees. We'll do 20 seconds of push-ups. Hands are a little wider than your shoulders. Elbows going out to the side at about a 90-degree angle. Just start with this first round. And then if you're looking for like a more intermediate push-up option, my favorite tier of that is to lower from your toes and push up from your knees. So here's our second round. Take it down to your toes and up from your knees if you'd like. Of course, you can do regular chest push-ups from your toes or from your knees or from the chair. Okay, cool. Slight break from that to switch to our side planks. modification is right here. And if you'd like to do from the floor, you can keep a knee down or you can go side by side. So let's roll into our first round here of a side plank with either the knee down or both legs together. Take a little break. Yeah, use the break, roll the shoulder, shake it out. Second set here. Here's our side plank, and if you'd like to add a little bit more to it, we'll twist. We'll take this top end, thread it underneath the armpit, and then open it back up to the sky. So that's that thread the needle side plank. Working on this rotational strength and stability. We'll go for the other side, so roll yourself around. We've got two rounds here. First one is just a static side plank, so with your knee down or feet together. It's even a little harder if you go feet stacked, or you could float the top leg if you need an even bigger challenge today. Everybody hips forward, shoulder over elbow, take your break. Okay, one more side plank, and we got 2 rounds of push-ups. Okay, so here we go, side plank time. High five up here, and then let's thread the needle and then open it back up again. That's that rotational strength, which is the stability that we need for catching slips and trips. And then of course, all that boating and biking stuff uses a lot of rotational strength too. Okay, we've got this. 2 more rounds of push-ups. Here we go. Take it down and push it up. If your wrists are challenged by push-ups, one option for that would be to really grip the ground with your fingertips. So you're kind of clawing the ground. That sometimes takes a little bit of weight out of the wrist. Or sometimes I like to roll up a towel and put it under the wrist to lighten up the angle between the wrist and the floor. Last round, y'all. Let's do this. Maybe lower from toes, press up from knees. Yeah, find the right intensity and difficulty level that works for where your body is at today. And there's our timer. Okay, great. Okay, good old push-ups. We always train that upper body in the mixed intervals in the summer because the strength that we develop in the upper body, whether or not even if you're just hiking, if you're carrying a backpack or using trekking poles, the stability that we have in our torso helps the body feel capable and dignified. And the stability that we have up here is really functional when it comes down to carrying backpack weight and groceries and all the things. So, okay, now we move. Our last interval around is called a max interval. This is where I like to have 2 markers for the ground, especially if you have a little height to them. That can help raise the floor a little bit. Or if you just have flat things, that'll totally work too. We're going to do a move that's called speed skaters, and we'll do this one move for the full interval. The invitation here is if you're chasing intensity or you have a lot of energy to give to the workout today, this is your chance to go really hard, as intense as you want, get your heart rate all the way up, spend all your energy, and then we'll taper down after this. So I'll walk you through this move. If this is a new one to you, we'll spend some time building the form of it and maybe get up to more intensity by the end. If you know the move, feel free to go right into it and go hard right at the beginning. But if you're building with me, what we're doing here is a curtsy, step through, and a curtsy on the other side. Stepping the back foot behind keeping the front knee stacked over the front ankle. And that might be a little hard to see with my black pants. So what I'm doing here is front knee is staying stacked over the front ankle as much as possible. Let's go again. Quick little break. Yeah. The way I get that stacked position is by keeping some weight on the inside edge of the front foot and then bending all the knees, both knees down to drop low. Great. Take a break, shake it out. The reason this is important is knee over ankle is nice and stable. If we float the knee over the air, that is a vulnerable position for the knee. So we're trying to, with this move, especially strengthen the lateral, these side butt muscles out here. They're the ones that help us maintain nice knee alignment and protect the like things like the ACL, which is one of our most vulnerable knee stabilizers. So here we go. If you're adding more to this move, you've got the basic form, you might hop between the two sides. Little hops. You might also reach across the body and down toward your marker. Just make sure if you're reaching down, you're doing it with a nice, strong, proud torso. So we're getting low because the knees are getting low. Yeah, not because we like hunch over and slouch. Try to keep that open chest looking forward. Nice work. Dropping low, bending both knees, keeping weight on the inside edge of the front foot. Take a break. Little recovery. Even if it's short, make some adjustments. You might play with a little more space between the two sides. So the lateral push is a little bit more challenging. And then we want to keep light landings. Yeah, good. Take a break. Challenge to the heart rate for sure. Take the breath into the nose, out through the mouth. Let's go again. These are intentionally incomplete recoveries, so it is a big nervous system challenge, cardio challenge. Feel free to take each one as a sprint, as its own individual challenge. Shake it out and breathe. This is where we help the body learn to make the most of these little mini recovery breaks before we go again. And then trust that we've got capacity to go for 20 seconds at whatever intensity level you've got. That we can sustain the movement through those beats. Take the break, and there we go. Those 3 beeps mean we're done with that round. Oh my goodness, nice work. High fives. Okay, notice your body. How's your heart rate? How's your sweatiness? How's your mind? Just noticing what happens as we add challenge in, as we come over the peak of something challenging. And now we get to start to settle. Okay, take a breath. Maybe into the nose and out through the mouth if the body allows for that. Don't rush it, but as we move from like panting in and out through the mouth, as we start to settle, it's nice to move toward nose breathing as a signal to the body that we're not in fight or flight anymore. We can just start to bring it down. We can do that through breathing into the nose. We can do that through lengthening the exhales. We can do that through practicing some balance, which is what we'll do next. So we're going to do a balance challenge, quote unquote, as part of our step down. This is a figure 4 balance. And it's going to start with a quad stretch. If I had that chair handy, I'd be holding on. So feel free to use your support for this quad stretch. We want the emphasis to be on the stabilization required and also on the nervous system as it starts to settle. And balance can help the nervous system settle because if you were in a survival situation, you wouldn't be on one foot, you'd be like motivating to move. And it requires so much attention that sometimes it can force us into the present moment a little bit more. If you're ready for a little more, we'll kick back and reach forward. I'll turn this into a dancer. Equal pressure back and reaching forward. And then try coming up to center, releasing the foot, bringing the knee through, rotating the ankle knee wide and ankle on top of the other knee. You might stay here, or we could bend the standing knee and drop it down into a figure 4 stretch. And this one is a nice balance for one. Feel the standing foot anchoring down into the ground. And then also feel the stretch in the outer glute here. This is that muscle that we were just working in speed skaters. So if you find yourself to be sore tomorrow or the next day on that, maybe revisit this stretch. Yeah, and then let's try coming out of it. Push through the standing leg, raise the knee, set it down, and come to center. And breathe. Both feet on the ground. Pause and notice what that's like. Find some stability. Notice how your body is reacting to having moved down this backside of the wave after that max interval. Let's do the other side, see how that goes. We'll do a stretch, quad stretch. Soften the standing knee a notch. Breathe here. So a little bit of softness in that standing knee, and then lots of attention to the foot. Yeah, notice how that foot connects to the solid ground underneath it. And notice how even with some wobbles throughout the body as we balance, we also have stability. Even if you fall, we're just recalibrating, and these stabilizer muscles are figuring out what it takes to stabilize when we're balanced. Try transitioning it into a dancer, so a little bit of a hinge forward, then kick back and reach forward, equal pressure in both directions. Yeah, notice your breathing. We might be able to move toward nostril breathing now. Yeah. Okay, and then it's a transition. So try to come up to standing, let go of your ankle, bring the knee up and through, rotate, and then ankle on top of the thigh. You could stay here or bend the standing knee and drop it down. Here is a figure 4 stretch. So noticing the stability of the foot that's on the ground. Maybe we need a little bit more weight into the heel to find an even more stable position. And then the stretch in the outer glute. Notice the breath. See how it feels to be settling even while we're working. Yeah, and then come on up, lift the knee for a second and then set it down. Release that, nice work. That is balance challenge. So now we're gonna stretch and we'll wrap up with a little reward at the end. So grab a hold of one wrist, reach up and over. This is our static stretch time. Switch your grip and reach to the other side. Back up through center. Widen out the feet, lift the ribs, send the hips back, and let's fold down for hamstring stretch. Oh, yeah. Roll the shoulders out as you let the head come down toward the ground. Oh, imagine the muscles along the spine relaxing so the spine can get long as the head gets heavy. Let's bring both hands over to one side. We'll pull in for a stretch. Oh, dedicated hamstring stretch to one side. And while you're over here, check in with this leg and give it some touch, some squeezes, a pat down, anything that it might need to signal that it's done a good job and it's done for right now. Now it can relax. Let's walk back through center and over to the other side. We'll do the same thing over here. So nice focused stretch. Check in with how this side feels. Maybe touch into your calf, your knee, your thigh, glutes over here. Some pats, some self massage. Yeah, this leg, no, it did good. Now it gets to take a bit of a break. Walk hands back through center. Heels go in, hands up to your thighs. Hang out here for a couple moments. See if you find a sweet spot in the center, and then let's roll one shoulder in and press the other thigh open. So it's just a gentle press, a little bit of a hip opener and some traction for the spine. And then roll that one back, take the other side in. Shoulder rolls in and a gentle pressure on the inside of the thigh to open up that hip a little bit. And breathe. Notice while we're here in stretching where your mind goes. This is an interesting time in a workout. This is where we really are riding the backside of the wave, hopefully all the way down to a nice settled place. Though for many of us, especially the like stuck on type nervous systems, let's roll that shoulder back and come to center. And see if there are any other stretches that your body needs as we complete. Sometimes the stretching time is when the intrusive thoughts of your to-do list come rushing in to try to start the next wave of activation. So just notice if that's true for you. That's good insight into your nervous system. Oh, see if it's possible to stretch out these last few minutes of relaxation, which we're actually going to do as a dance move reward, which is my favorite way to end the workout with some co-regulation and mirroring. Today we're just going to do a playful move, the running man. It's an old classic. If you don't want to dance with me, you can just watch and laugh. Feel free. I'm certainly not like a pro dancer by any means, just recreation and silly. So here's the running man, little skips. Lift your knee, scoot your hips, your foot and your hips back, little forward, and then you do something with your arms, like little circles. And then to make it even more dramatic, turn to the side, look over your shoulder, and make a cheesy face. Stick your butt out. There we go. There's your next dance move for your next dance party, which hopefully is on the top of a mountain somewhere. I'd love to see it. Okay, thanks everybody. That's our workout. Take some breaths. Oh, yeah, soak in the play, the accomplishment, get some water. I'm going to come up to the screen and say hello. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, I'm very sweaty. Oh, Angela, there you are and your kids. Oh my gosh.
They just got home, but they're doing
Hi. Hi, everybody.
it. Two extras. Yay, kids!
Yeah. Oh my
Say
gosh.
hi.
There's more kids.
Did you work out with mommy? Yeah, Sarah. That's Sarah.
Hi. And Caroline's sweet little kid too was here. Wow, that's fun.
Can you say I like your owl?
Oh, you like owls. Nice. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Oh.
I'm gonna stop the recording.